Welcome to Echoes of the Lost audiobook, where forgotten stories come to life. Dive into worlds of mystery, survival, and the unknown. If you enjoy our stories, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with our latest audiobooks. Chap 17, Currents Beneath the Sand. Ryder sat in the scrap rig, hands gripping his makeshift spear, eyes locked on the crimson desert now calm after the Black Season storm. The engine growled faintly, vibrating through the rusted seat, blending with a soft wind seeping through gaps, a fragile stillness after hours of chaos. Lena sat beside, right hand on the wheel, left wiping sweat-mixed dust from her brow, her sharp gaze scanning the gray horizon. The tank, freshly topped with black sap, could manage a few dozen kilometers, but the northward trek to the Seraphim's archive remained a long, uncertain haul. He pulled the Seraphim device from his bag, resting it on his lap. Its red light glowed steady, the small screen showing the map with the northern dot blinking, and the tiny archive label beneath, a simple word heavy with promise. He opened his notebook, jotting, Day 2 North, post-storm. Rig OK, fuel just enough. Archive confirmed, Seraphim data vault. He paused, staring at archive. It conjured images of a vast repository, possibly holding secrets of MH370 and why he'd landed in 2100. It's a data vault, he murmured. But for what? And why here? Lena glanced over, curiosity tinged with pragmatism in her eyes. What do you think it'll give you? She asked, voice hoarse from a dry throat. Answers? Or just a way for the Seraphim to find us? She gestured at the desert. Hounds just chased us. If they report, more'll come. We need speed, or cover. Ryder nodded slightly, eyes on the screen. I don't know exactly. But if it's a vault, I might find clues, about the plane, the time I lost. If I don't go, I'll never understand. He met her gaze, voice low. You okay? My leg's better, I can drive if you need a break. Lena smirked, steadying the wheel as the rig jolted over rough ground. I'm fine. But you can drive, I'll watch. She pulled over behind a large dune, sliding out of the driver's seat. Go slow, I don't want this thing dying mid-road. Ryder took the wheel, restarting the engine. It whined, then settled. He eased the gas, the rig rolling through sand, heading north per the map. The desert sharpened post-storm, red dunes stretched wide, dotted with scattered metal and twisted trees. But a few kilometers in, a low rumble sounded, not from the rig, but below, shaking the tires. Watch it, Lena said, sitting up, steel rod raised. That sound, like the pit flare, but off. She peered at the sand, cracks formed, a glossy black liquid seeping out, not black sap, but thicker, like spilled oil. Ryder stopped the rig, eyeing the flow. Oil? Or old fuel, he muttered, scribbling, black flow, Day 2 North. Seraphim or natural? He stepped out, spear as a crutch, bending near the stream, a sharp smell, not sap's burn, but industrial chemicals. This isn't natural, he said. Maybe war leftovers, or Seraphim stash. Lena hopped down, standing beside him. Dangerous, she warned. If it ignites, we're done. Don't touch, but if it works, our rig goes farther. She scanned around, tense. Hurry, I don't want hounds catching us. Ryder nodded, grabbing a metal scrap from the rig, dipping it in, the liquid clung, no fumes. Not instantly flammable, he said. Could be old machinery fuel, like fossil gas. He looked at her. Try it in the rig? Lena hesitated, then nodded. Small amount, if it blows, we're dead together. They scooped some into a metal can from the rig, pouring it into the tank. The engine roared louder, vibrating oddly but running. It works, Ryder said, smiling faintly. Fuel, for now. They climbed in, driving on, but not far before a muffled boom sounded behind. Ryder glanced back. The flow smoked, then erupted in red flame, spreading fast across the desert. Damn it! Lena yelled, slamming his hand on the gas. Go, it's unstable. The rig shot forward, flames chasing, heat sweeping through cracked glass. They outran the blaze, stopping on a high rise, watching the fire die in the sand. Seraphim, Ryder murmured. They buried this, a trap or resource. He wrote, burning fuel, Seraphim trap. Lena panted, staring at him. Lucky we're fast. But if they left that, archive isn't simple. She pointed at the device. Check it again, I need to know what we're running into. Ryder plugged the device into the cable, screen flaring, map clearer, and now, a faint image appeared under archive, a long, curved object with wings, like a plane. MH370, he whispered, heart pounding. It's there, or its trace. He jotted, archive, MH370 image. Link confirmed. Lena stared at the image, eyes widening. Your plane. How's it here? No idea, Ryder said. But if it's real, I'm closer to answers than ever. He met her gaze, excitement mixing with unease. Ready to keep going? Lena nodded, gripping her rod. I don't quit halfway. Drive, we're hitting archive, whatever it is. They sat in the rumbling rig, engine growling, the northward trek pressing on, through sand and flame, truth drawing nearer. Chapter 18, The Call from the Waypoint. Ryder sat in the scrap rig, hands gripping the rusted wheel, eyes fixed on the crimson desert stretching ahead under a sun fading west. The engine growled steadier with the black fuel from the sand's flow, but each tremor reminded him of the machine's fragility. Lena sat beside, steel rod across her lap, sharp gaze sweeping the horizon, where rising dunes loomed like natural walls, hiding what lay beyond. The tank, fuller now, could manage tens of kilometers, but the northward trek to archive remained a long road, every mile a test of survival. He pulled the Seraphim device from his bag, setting it on the dashboard. Its red light glowed steady, the small screen showing the map with the northern dot blinking, and the faint MH370 image, a clear, haunting clue. He opened his notebook, jotting, Day 3 North, rig stable. Archive plus MH370 image. Waypoint close? He paused, eyeing the circle with three-dot symbol near their position. It glowed brighter, as if they neared a Seraphim checkpoint. We're close to a waypoint, he murmured. Maybe a control post, or a trap. Lena leaned over, peering at the screen. Waypoint? She asked, voice low. If it's a station, what's there? Bots like last time, or worse? She gestured at the desert. Hounds know we've got a rig, they won't let it slide. We need to be ready. Ryder nodded slightly, hands firm on the wheel. I'm not sure. But if it ties to MH370, I have to check, whatever it is. He met her gaze, voice steady. How you holding? My leg's better, I can switch if you want to drive. Lena snorted, but her eyes softened. You're driving fine. I'll watch, my eyes cut through dust better. She checked her rod, then their bag, water low, black sap enough for days if spared. Go slow, I don't want us crashing into anything. Ryder nodded, easing off as the rig climbed a large dune. The desert shifted, larger metal scraps littered the sand, some etched with broken angel wing symbols, traces of an old battle. But at the dune's crest, a structure emerged below, not a ruin, but a low metal tower, glinting in the light, a green light blinking atop. "Waypoint," he whispered, pulse quickening. Lena sat up, rod raised. "Seraphim," she said, voice taut. "Not abandoned, it's active." She pointed at the tower. "Stop the rig, we scout first. If it's a trap, I don't want the rig blowing." Ryder parked behind a small dune, killing the engine. He grabbed his spear, stepping out with Lena. They crawled through sand, nearing the tower, about 5 meters tall, sleek metal shell, no doors, but a small panel blinking green beside it. "Seraphim Tech," he murmured, writing, "Waypoint, active tower. Control panel." Lena scanned around, tense. "No tracks, but I don't buy it. If it calls bots, we're dead." She eyed him. "You want to open it?" Ryder nodded, pulling out the device. "If it links, I've got to try." He held it near the panel, a beep sounded, green light going solid, and the tower emitted a low hum. The device's screen flickered, showing new text, "Waypoint 17, archive link." "Confirm? Confirm?" Ryder whispered, eyes lighting up. "It's tied to archive, I could pull data." He looked at Lena. "I'm pressing, you ready?" Lena nodded, rod poised. "Fast, I don't want to wait." Ryder hit the button, the tower vibrated, a green beam swept over them, then faded. The screen updated, link complete. Signal sent, archive. But before he could note it, a deep engine roar sounded, not from the tower, but distant. "Hounds," Lena hissed, yanking him behind the tower. Through the sand, 3 small rigs sped in, not typical scrap, but upgraded, with steel plating and mounted machine guns. "They're stronger," she whispered. "Following the signal," Seraphim called them. Ryder stared at the device, heart racing. Maybe, Waypoint alerted them. He wrote, "Upgraded hounds, Waypoint signal. Run or fight?" "Can't fight," Lena said. "Machine guns, we run to the rig." They bolted through sand, gunfire erupting, bullets struck the tower, sparks flying. Ryder leapt into the driver's seat, starting it, engine roared, lurching as Lena jumped in. The hounds pursued, faster than he'd guessed, machine guns blazed, bullets whizzing. "Watch out!" Lena yelled, ducking a shot through the glass. Ryder swerved, rig weaving through dunes, trying to lose them. "Burning sap," he shouted, handing her a chunk. Lena sparked it, tossing it through broken glass. Flames flared, thick black smoke billowing, blinding the hounds. Their rig plunged into a sandy valley, hiding behind a large rise as gunfire faded. "We're clear," Ryder panted, looking at Lena. "Thanks to you." Lena slumped in the seat, sweat streaming. "Both of us. But that waypoint, it summoned them." She pointed at the device. "Check it, we need to know." Ryder scanned it, new text appeared, archive signal, MH370, data transfer August 3, 2014. The day it vanished, he whispered, pulse pounding. "It's tied, Seraphim have MH370 data." He jotted, archive signal, MH370 August 3, 2014. Lena stared, eyes wide. "Your disappearance day? How do they have it?" "No clue," Ryder said. "But I'm closer to the truth, archive is the key." He met her gaze, resolve firm. We keep going? Lena nodded, gripping her rod. To the end, whatever it is. The rig roared, speeding north, truth nearer, danger too. Chapter 19, The Desert's Breath. Ryder drove the scrap rig through the crimson desert, hands gripping the rusted wheel, eyes straining across the endless dunes under a graying twilight sky. The engine growled steadily, fueled by the black liquid from the sand's flow, but each faint shudder kept him on edge. This machine could die anytime. Lena sat beside, steel rod across her lap, sharp gaze peering through cracked glass at the horizon, where twisted trees and scattered metal grew denser, signs of a forgotten yet occupied land. The tank held over half, good for tens of kilometers, but the northward trek to Archive remained a perilous stretch. He grabbed the Seraphim device from the dashboard, resting it on his lap. Its red light glowed steady, the small screen showing the map with the northern dot blinking, the Archive label, and the new signal, MH370, data transfer August 3, 2014. It was like proof is past, the day the plane vanished, waited ahead. He opened his notebook, jotting, Day 4 North, post waypoint. Rig running, fuel decent. Archive MH370 signal, audio? He paused, eyeing the text. The waypoint signal wasn't just visuals, it might hold more, like sound or a message. It knows what happened, he murmured. Seraphim kept it, I need to hear. Lena turned, curiosity and concern in her eyes. What do you think it'll say? She asked, voice rough from dry wind. If it's your plane, why do the Seraphim have it? And why now? She gestured at the desert. Hounds just chased us, if they're back, we won't slip away so easy. Ryder nodded slightly, steadying the wheel as the rig jolted over rough ground. I'm not sure. But if it's audio from MH370, pilots, black box, something, I'll know what went down that day. Archive isn't just a vault, it's a link. He met her gaze, voice low. You okay? I'll keep driving, rest if you need. Lena smirked, wiping dust from her face. I'm fine. But you're right, I need to stay sharp. Keep the pace, I don't want surprises. She checked their bag, water scarce, black sap enough for days if stretched. If there's sound, can you hear it? Ryder nodded, plugging the device into the rig's cable, the small generator whined, feeding power. I'll try, he said, pressing a button. The screen flickered, then a crackle sounded, not loud, but clear, static mixed with a broken voice, Mayday. MH370, losing control, systems, unresponsive, the voice cut off, static resuming, then looping. Pilots, Ryder whispered, heart racing. They hit trouble, Seraphim recorded it. He scribbled, Archive audio, MH370 Mayday. System failure? He looked at Lena, eyes alight. This is proof, I was on that flight. Lena listened, eyes narrowing. Systems unresponsive? It didn't crash on its own, someone did something. She stared at him. Seraphim? How'd they get this? No idea, Ryder said. But if Archive has more, I'll find out. He opened his mouth to say more, but a low rumble sounded, not from the rig, but the desert, trembling the ground. Watch out! Lena yelled, sitting up, rod raised. The sand ahead cracked, not a black flow, but a white gas burst upward, thick, smelling of burning metal. Poison, she growled, yanking him aside. Ryder slammed the brakes, rig halting, white gas spread fast, clouding vision, choking him. Not poison, he said, covering his nose. Smells like ozone, big machinery. He wrote, White gas, day 4 north. Seraphim activity? They're doing something underground, activating what? Lena scanned around, tense. If it's Seraphim, we're not safe. Rig can't drive through, go around. She pointed left, where the gas thinned. Fast, before it gets worse. Ryder nodded, turning the wheel. Rig lurched through sand, skirting the white haze. But as they cleared it, a shape loomed ahead, not a hound rig, but a round machine, hovering meters off the ground, red lights sweeping the desert. Seraphim bot, he whispered. Like the Scout, but bigger. Lena nodded, rod ready. It's seen us, can't outrun it. She eyed him. Got a plan? Ryder thought fast, glancing at the device. If it's tied to archive, I'll jam the signal. He hit the button, crackling blared louder, making the bot freeze, red lights flickering wildly. Now, he shouted, flooring it. Rig sped off, leaving the bot in dust. But not far out, a small pop sounded from the device, screen darkened, then relit, showing new text, archive, MH370, time transfer activated. Time transfer? Ryder murmured, pulse pounding. They moved me? Lena stared, eyes wide. Time? What's that mean? Not sure, he said, jotting, archive, MH370 time transfer. Seraphim meddling? But if true, Seraphim didn't just record, they caused it. He met her gaze, shock and resolve mixing. We've got to reach archive, I need to know. Lena nodded, gripping her rod. We're going, whatever it is. Drive on, we're closer. The rig roared through the desert, amid white gas and mystery, the truth of MH370 emerging.